Exactly.
Can't catch a
But
break.
yep. But let's move on to the lightweight matchup, aka the co-main event,
Yeah.
which pits Tony Ferguson, who is 26-5, is the plus 140 underdog, going up against Beneil Dariush, who is 24-1 and is the minus 165 favorite. What do you see in this matchup?
First, any fight with Tony Ferguson is a fight of the night.
Tony time.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fight of the night contender. I love this matchup. Again, this is very much like the Burgos and Barboza fight that I love the matchup. Personality wise, it's completely opposite, with Tony Ferguson being the outlandish, kind of weird, unique guy, and Beneil's just your
If you've seen him on Instagram at all the past 2 months, you'll know that.
yeah, he's wild. And he lives to the beat of his own drum, and I will not fault him for that. I love his individuality. Beneil is the complete opposite, and style wise, it's the complete opposite too. Tony
Hmm.
Ferguson is coming off 2-fight losing streak, dropping a decision to Charles Oliveira and stoppage to Justin Gaethje, where Beneil Dariush is coming in on a 6-fight winning streak. He's been super active and is adding his name to the list of killers at 155 that we talked about. A lot has been said about Tony Ferguson lately. A lot of people are saying that he might not have it. He's questioning if he has anything left. I believe that he does. I believe he has something left. And I think that he offers such a unique style and unusual style that takes some time for his opponent to kind of figure out. And I think he can capitalize on that early. So Tony's going to incorporate a number of attacks in this fight. They could be very hard to kind of simulate in training for Beneil Dariush, where Dariush has a specific style that is easier to simulate in training. I see this fight starting off quick with Tony capitalizing on his unusual style, throwing a high volume, trying to overpower Beneil. And I wouldn't be shocked, honestly, if Beneil were to shoot for a takedown and try to slow down Tony. And we've seen that, Tony is great on the ground, but some grapplers have been able to hold him down, smother him, tire him out for a bit. Then his gas tank kicks into overdrive and gets out on his feet and starts, bathing his opponents in blood. But this fight, again, this was a super tough one, but I'm going to go with Dariush by decision. I think this is going to go full 15, and I think he's going to outpoint Tony.
Yeah. No. I can see the points there. But before I get into mine, there's like one thing about Ferguson that you said that I think is kind of going to be his downfall, I think. But you got Ferguson. He beat Kevin Lee.
Mm-hmm.
He beat Anthony Pettis. He beat Don Cerrone, but then he lost to Gaethje and then lost to Charles Oliveira, where he basically broke his hand.
Yeah.
But then you got Dariush, who has beat Dober. He beat Frank Camacho, Drakkar Close, Scott Holtzman, and then Diego Ferrer, who just lost to Gregor Gillespie. And another nod to that.
Salt in the wound, my friend.
Yes. But you got Ferguson, who is plus 125 underdog. He fights out of Ventura, California. He's 37 years old. He is 155 pounds, 5'11", with a 76 reach advantage right there. And he fights out of Knuckleheads Boxing. If you don't know already, the one thing that he just started doing is he started training with Freddie Roach. He's trying to improve his box and his overall scale, which with me, I think kind of defeats the purpose of his unorthodox style, where you don't know what he's going to do. Yeah. If you know he's going to improve his boxing, he's going to try and do it more. So to me, that's a little bit, it goes against him as a fighter, but maybe it's him just trying to improve because he's getting older. So he kind of has to re-improve himself.
Yeah. I mean, his old training style was he would go up in the mountains and punch trees and calf, leg kick, steel poles. Yeah. He's super unique.
Well, when he got along with Brock Lesnar, and he talks to Brock Lesnar all the time. Yeah. That's all you need to know, because that was his coach on The Ultimate Fighter, was Brock Lesnar. And then he trained at his Death Clutch gym in I believe South Dakota for the longest time before Brock Lesnar stopped, and then then Tony Ferguson got his own gym and did all that, and now you got all the videos of him on Instagram training and then running. He just did one last night where he's running in Houston. He's running in the city and with people behind him running. So it's like he loves the camera. He loves training. Like he's trying to get back to what he was. But then you got Dariush, who is from Assyria. He fights out of Huntington Beach, California. He's 32. He's 156 pounds, 5'10", and then he has 72 reach, and he fights out King's MMA. He's going to have this is the one guy that's going to have the better wrestling and takedown game than Tony Ferguson. There's one big thing that Tony Ferguson has been slacking with, and that's why he's lost the last two. And it's guys that won't get scared of him when he gets in, like with his drive personality, where he has the gas tank for days, and then he just puts fear in the guys because of him, what he does. Like he's done it all the way up until the last two fights. But when you get to like these patient, unaffected guys like Gaethje, like Oliveira, and now Dariush, where they do their thing and they're not fazed by it, it's going to have a big effect on him, because what Ferguson does is he scares guys to get away from their game plan to another game plan. So it benefits him. So he just bum rushes guys. He comes at him with like this rage mentality, and then he can do it because he has the gas tank to back it up. And then he has a very good wrestling background, but Dariush, his wrestling is a lot better. He can like, you won't see it with the stats, because the stats favor Ferguson, but Dariush does it when he wants to. He doesn't do it all the time like Ferguson does. So the stats are kind of skewed from when you look at it. But Dariush is the better striker. He has the better gas tank. Not a better gas tank, but his gas tank is on the level of Ferguson. And then he's a more patient fighter. He's not going to put all the shots out and then take a beating like Ferguson. He's going to have the methodical ability to, I'm going to dodge this shot, and then I'll go for mine. Like, I'm going to make sure that I take as least amount of punishment as I can before I get my shit across. Like, he only averages like 4 strikes a minute, something crazy like that. But he wins because of that. Like, he doesn't take anything back. Like, his defense is really what sticks to me with that, is he tries to limit the damage he takes. Whereas Ferguson takes so much damage because he inflicts damage. Like that's his style. Like, he takes it because he knows he can take it and then dish it as well. Yeah. So he's like kind of putting himself out there to get to his opponent. But Dariush, I think the X factor in this is he's going to take Ferguson down. I feel like he's going to take him down several times. He won't, of course, wear him out, but he's going to do damage to Ferguson, and he's going to get Ferguson out of his plan. He's not going to be able to box because he's going to be on his back half the time. And I feel like, just like you said, I feel like Dariush is going to keep the winning ways going. And then I got Beneil Dariush by a unanimous decision. Okay. I think he's gonna win all 3 rounds. But what he needs to watch is if Ferguson can catch him with one strike. Like, he has that ability where he can change the fight at any moment. That Ferguson has that. And if Dariush is too relaxed and too patient, he might get caught slipping. And then that's when Ferguson can end the fight at any moment. He needs to watch out for that. So he needs to be a little bit on his feet and not too relaxed, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, this fight could go like the Drakkar Klose and Beneil Dariush fight, where, you know, Klose was controlling that fight, and Dariush at the end really just hunkered down, bit down on his mouthpiece, and controlled the ending and got the win. Yeah. Tony Ferguson is an exciting fighter. We know that he's an exciting personality, but he's also super dangerous. The last 2 wins that he had, he injured the fight. Like, the fighters injured themselves. They broke their hand, they broke their rib. or I think it was an eye, doctor stoppage for Cowboy over the eye. I think Anthony Pettis either broke his rib or his hand. I can't remember which fight that was.
Andy Pettis won that first round, and then Ferguson went into overdrive mode
Yeah,
round two, where it was like, oh, I got my gas tank going now, and he just went nuts on Pettis and made him bleed, and then just
it was a
it
hell
was
of
a
a fight.
bloodbath.
Hell of a
Yeah,
fight. It was. I think that was fight of the night, honestly. But yeah,
exactly.
Tony Ferguson. I think he still has it.
Hmm.
The training, I totally agree with you. That was a great point. Switching up and going from an unusual style to an orthodox boxing, it may be different, but it's another look. It's another toolbox in an already
Yeah,
lethal Swiss Army knife of a fighter with Tony Ferguson.
yeah, and if he can look good with his striking, with Freddie Roach training him with his boxing, like who knows? He could come in and then it could look totally different. You could be like, where was this Ferguson 2 years ago?
Yeah.
Right before he got beat twice by Gagey and Oliveira. This could change things for him. But then again, it could also change things badly where he doesn't have that unpredictability on his side where no one knows what he's going to do, because then if they know what he's going to do now and he favors too much of the boxing because he's been working on it, then they can use that against him and game plan for it and then just keep everything on the ground. Like Dariush can just keep this on the ground because he has the superior takedown game. And the only thing that favors Ferguson in this matchup is his cardio. That's the only thing that favors him in this matchup, because they're so similar in what they do, but then they're totally different at the same time.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
Either way, whoever wins this fight isn't going to be a number one contender. I think the winner of this fight gets like Dan Hooker or Justin Gaethje. Two fighters are kind of inactive right now.
Which that's what Gagey, because he's the ranked number one and he's not doing anything right now.
Yeah, I mean he's sitting and waiting for the winner of Chandler and Oliveira, but if Poirier or McGregor go out there and they dominate, that's the next fight regardless. The winner of that fight gets the champ. So Gaethje needs to stay active. So maybe him and Hooker fight, or maybe he gets the winner of this, another rematch with Ferguson, or a new look with Dariush.
I think Dariush, if he wins, put him up against Dan Hooker would be a good thing, because he's right there at like the 9 spot, I believe he is. Whereas Ferguson, he's up at 6. So yeah, Ferguson, it would either look at like a rematch with Gagey,
if Conor loses, he gets Conor.
He gets Conor. If he loses, well, if Conor loses, he's done. I think he's done.
He said he wants to fight 2 more times this year, but he also said he wants to fight Kamaru Usman.
Yeah, so I don't see that. Or there's Rafael dos Anjos, who hasn't fought either. He's at 5, I believe. No, 5 or 6, I believe.
Okay, that's a good fight.
Right next to him. But then you could book him against somebody in the top 4. You know,
for sure.
One of the guys that you could book Beneil Dariush winning. You could book him up against the loser of Oliveira and Chandler or something like that. There are matchups there.
Yeah, it's a good division to be in.
Mm-hmm. There's so many, which is great for a fighter that doesn't want to be on the shelf too long, even though for some reason Gagey is like the odd man out in every eye. So I would think that maybe Gagey would be like, here, give me Dariush. He hasn't lost. Yeah, I'll fight him.
He'd probably go in there, thinking that he's an easy paycheck.
Yeah, and then I'll make for a good matchup.
Absolutely.
Yep.